But here's the thing I would like to just sort of level set is that, you know, the job of the West Wing is to promote the president.
Yes.
The job is not to promote the vice president. There were times in which we asked for their help. There were times in which they gave it. There were times in which they did not. We got to a sort of, when we hit a fever pitch, we're incredibly frustrated with the West Wing because we felt like they could have done more to inoculate her from criticism. But I will say the one thing that people hardly ever talk about, and I hope she gets into this in her book, is that really fortified her in a lot of ways. It really positioned us to identify what her long-term needs were to build that outside infrastructure, because you couldn't depend on it from within the West Wing or from within the White House, which became helpful to her as she started to move down the process. And when she launched her own campaign, that infrastructure was there. That's why I was able to kick in that quickly. You remember when there were questions about whether or not she should be next, you had the CBC coming, a whole lot of outside advocates, organizations. We started to build that foundation for her because we realized we were going it alone.
But here's, and again, this is just the first excerpt.
Sure.
But if we just take this thing back, the reason her being vice president was so completely different, and also the reason why you had so much press attention on her was because he was old. And so one of the right. And so it was from day one, it was a lot of one term, she's gonna run, all of that.
And that created some tension.